warm, good-looking cardigans, the plain style on our cover, or a country one in a manly cable and rib pattern. Roger before Bond. Oh, hi! How did the audition go?
I say it was misjudged.
Well, here's to us. Hello and welcome to episode 11 of Review to a Kill. My name's James and I'm a big James Bond fan.
My name's Tom and I am watching these Bond movies for the first time.
Yeah, but really throwing himself into it, as you can see.
Thought I'd have a bit of a go at doing the spacesuit this time and being Jules' missus.
Yeah,
Just
Dolly.
Yeah.
Oh, you've lost a bow.
Oh, flip.
No,
it's still there.
It's just no.
Yeah,
I mean, you'd look ridiculous if the bow wasn't there. You
don't
know,
want to look stupid.
Yeah.
I'm just going to take it. I hope you get the gist. Probably more for a still for the thumbnail. Let's do one.
Yes,
and then
quick.
It's just making too much bloody noise, isn't it? And I'm going to start sweating again like last time. So there we go. I made this myself.
No, it's great.
See,
I mean, time well spent. Moonraker. Yeah, no, very good. Very. I do like the black piping.
That black,
as Alan Partridge would say. Yeah, very good.
Did that like Blue Peter style.
Yeah.
But
some people might think it's gaffer tape.
I've got clothes on under here. Don't worry, folks.
No, that's fine. Now, as we say before every episode, there will be
spaceships
and
spoilers.
So there will be spoilers. If you haven't seen the movie that we're going to talk about tonight, pause us here, go and watch that movie, okay? Because we will spoil it for you if you haven't seen it before. Although given that it was made in 1979, you kind of have had plenty of time to watch it.
That threw my head in.
Yeah, and even people who've not seen this movie know what that reference is, you know, so there we are. Right. We always want to hear from you on this show, so please do leave a comment below the line here, just where I'm pointing, here,
somewhere around there,
sort of there-ish, and you can tweet us.
I'll get off this one because I'll put it up. It's up here this time.
Is it?
Right.
Why'd
you put it there?
Yeah,
at
there.
Review Kill Show.
At Review Kill Show is our Twitter /X handle. Is that what they call it?
Yes.
Name,
innit?
Yeah. At Review Kill Show.
Search if you want to find us.
Yeah. At Review Kill Show.
Subscribe and. To the luxury tedium as well.
Oh yes, we do need subscribers to the YouTube.
Luxury tedium.
We're getting lots of views, which is great, but we do need subscribers.
Don't
so
like
please,
to beg.
Well, we do. We're quite happy to beg. If you give us money, we will beg.
Just be nice.
Yeah, just tick the little subscribe button, please. It'd be nice if you could.
Cheers.
We will only give you high quality content such as this.
Yes.
So it's fine. Anyway, on the subject of feedback. Here are some of the people who have given us feedback on our last episode. It's time for Feedback Corner. Yay! As you may have heard from the presumptive piano that was being played there.
Yeah, it's me Glock.
It's a Glockenspiel. Sorry, how silly of me.
Like a gun.
No. Although he is obsessed with guns. There's his book. Right. Feedback Corner time. Robert Crook. Hello, Robert. Thanks, lads. Great review. I'm going to say it. I think it's your best episode. Thank you, Robert.
Thanks.
Love Threads Watch. A smorgasbord in the Moore era, which it really is. Safari jackets are due a comeback.
Oh, well, they bloody do this time, do they?
He's already got one, as you saw last time. So it's happening. It's gonna start from this room. That's where the revolution's coming. I saw The Spy Who Loved Me, which is, of course, the movie we talked about last time, at the Classic Cinema in Blackburn in 1977, smuggled in my cassette recorder and recorded it with all the audience reaction on a C120 tape.
It's great.
That's brilliant, isn't it? I love that. Had to flip the
Because
tape
that's
over
what you had
halfway.
to do if you wanted. That's all you could do. You could,
In them days, that was what they were like.
You didn't have a video. So
I'm not this fancy DVD
Just remember
malarkey. Roger's best Bond, he believes, The Spy Who Loved Me, which we concur
So far,
with, as you can see.
The
Yeah.
BonadBoard's best Bond. Yeah.
The pre-title sequence and the audience reaction was truly amazing when the parachute opened. I still remember it. It was a time when such things were a genuine surprise pre-social media leaks. So all very correct and fabulous feedback. Thank you very much, Robert. Much appreciated. We have also had... Do we know who Cal Reader 7376 is?
I don't think so.
I think that is a new name to us, isn't it?
Oh, I think they've been in touch before, but it's not
but
one
they're
of
not
our
someone we know.
friends.
Okay. Well, hello to you, whoever you are, and thank you for getting in touch with us. We'd love to get your feedback. Stromberg in the novelisation by Christopher Wood. Now, we should say, by this point in the Bond canon, we were so far away. Crack that open quietly. I won't draw attention to it. We were so far away from the original book that the screenplays were completely different. So novelizations were written of those screenplays, right? So within that, as Cal Reader points out, Stromberg has a physical deformity where he has webbed hands. Continuing the aquatic theme.
Yeah.
Now that's interesting. Maybe that's why he doesn't want to shake hands in the movie, because it always struck me as a bit odd. Yeah,
that was a good comment. I like that.
Excellent comment. Thank you very much to you, sir or madam.
But I'd show them off if I had webbed hands. I'd get everyone to shake them. Go on, shake them for longer.
It could be your party trick. Look at these.
Rub the webbing. Oh shit.
Don't throw your beer around. Fidge Jufter says... That's Phil. Says, that wig is utterly undetectable.
Yeah.
I've met you and I still don't know that it's a wig. As indeed is the case this evening.
Yeah, well,
look at that piece
my
of work.
real hair.
Yeah, no, it's all real.
Yeah.
Very, very, very good. Also, he points out that one of us, I fear it may have been me, in the last episode said the phrase... Woman stuntman.
That was me.
Oh, was that you?
And then it's just so I think I just said
it was
I
one of
know.
those women stuntmen.
Yeah, well, what else would you call them? If only there was.
If only there was an alternative word we could use.
Idiot.
Sorry about that.
Yeah,
Yes,
sorry,
woman
people.
stuntman. Yeah, we'll try. That is the kind of high quality broadcasting that we do.
A woman.
A woman.
And finally, we have heard from Queenie Colombo. You're right there?
Sorry, yeah.
Queenie Colombo, our official nice person.
Yeah.
Hello, Queenie. She says, and I quote, "Glang, a-lang, 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 a-lang." And then she says, "Nobody does it better, opening score disco-esque. Nobody does it quite the way they do. John and Marvin are the best."
Huh?
That's good, isn't it? A nuclear submarine, stolen by Stromberg, whose henchman has metal teeth. But 007 and Agent XXX beats him with the galloping sausage. If only. That would have been brilliant. They should have added that into the glang-a-lang-a-lang, etc. Nobody does it better. Makes me feel sad for podcasts.
Oh, well.
YouTube shows. I mean, no one makes that mistake
That's
anymore.
what
she knew. I know.
A lot of people still say podcast. And I realise, I'm just sorry to interrupt the
you're right.
feedback, but no, I listen to podcasts and I like them. It's just, we don't just do an audio only version of this. I know there are people that do they shoot their podcasts so they have them on the telly, like Newsboys. Have you seen them?
I have.
Welcome to Newsboys. You know, I'm the most important one because I can grow a moustache. Here's my co-host. He can't grow a moustache, but he does look like Milhouse from The Simpsons wearing David Byrne's suit. And what do you think? Hey, Byrne.
What's in that? Are you okay? Are you?
Yeah.
Just sort of checking.
I'm just
you're
saying
not having a
that
breakdown.
we're not that. That's what
No,
I'm
we're
saying.
not that.
Yeah.
No, and sounds just as well, to be honest. That is this time's feedback corner. Excellent. Right, shall we move on to this episode's movie?
Yeah.
That was The Spy Who Loved Me, which of course means the next movie in the Bond is, and I've written The Spy Who Loved Me here, but clearly that's wrong. The next movie is it's Moonraker, which on Tom's French chart,
Yeah.
just to introduce a little à quelle heure fermer le bibliothèque into the proceedings, is the French for Moonraker is...
Yeah. What is it? It's Moonraker, isn't it?
Moonraker, yeah.
Useless. That's that feature bots this time, isn't it?
Not even le Moonraker,
No.
just oui, le petit Moonraker. There we are. There's a bit of French for you, just to make up for the lack of a French name.
Well,
Sorry about that.
Thank you.
Probably should have checked before we started the podcast. YouTube thing. Right. We're going to have a change to the running order this time because in response to listener feedback, see, we don't just ignore your feedback, we listen to it and we act upon it, right? Some listeners have suggested that maybe viewers have, because it's not a podcast, it's a YouTube thing. Some viewers have suggested, don't make me get two things wrong, I've got no chance. Some viewers have suggested that it would be better to have Tom's amazing plot summary here. So you can see straight away the movie it is that we're talking about, which we think is a brilliant idea.
So let's get, we've said spoilers.
So straight over to Tom.
Spoilers again.
There will be spoilers, yes.
Yeah.
Straight over to Tom for this episode. Superb plot summary.
Yeah, I've done it. I've cut it down from what I do normally. It's fine.
I mean,
just to get through it.
Get through it. Okay.
Yeah.
Pace
So
is
let's
the key.
go. Okay.
All right, go.
Bond in space. Bond is called to investigate this space shuttle theft. So he meets company owner Drax. But when he's there, he gets into a bit of trouble with this machine that spins him around so fast that his teeth nearly come out of his asshole. Thanks to a great wrist gun that Q gave him, he escapes death. And then he meets a doctor who is a woman.
A woman.
And a pilot who is a woman.
A woman.
And the pilot woman helps him get
the pilot
blueprints.
Woman, not the doctor woman.
Woman pilot gets...
Not one of those stuntmen women then?
Yeah.
No, okay, fine.
No, not a stunt woman.
No, not a stunt woman, man.
Helps him get the blueprints. So Drax has her killed by some dogs. And then cut to Venice. Boat chase. Bond finds a lab and then finds vials of a nerve gas that kills humans but not plants or animals. He has a fight with a ninja. And then when he goes to show M and Frederick Gray, the lab, it's all gone. But M lets him go to Rio, like on the slide, continuing the investigation. Brilliant fight sequence on a cable car with Jules, who hooks up with this woman who looks like this.
She does exactly like that. The beard and everything.
See?
Yeah. You could be her double.
I'll cut to her and then...
Yeah, it's an astonishing likeness.
Yeah.
It really is.
A woman.
Then they all boot off into space and there's loads more fights. Drax is planning to create a master race. I'll get to that. Bond points out to Jules that this means Drax isn't going to keep him around. So Jules switches sides, there's loads more fighting, and goodies win, and Bond embarrasses the bosses in front of the Queen.
Very good.
There you go.
Very impressed
That's
with
what
that.
we're in for this evening.
So what we will do is dissect that overview. I appreciate we can't improve on that, but we'll try to add a few little points along the way. That's the gist of it.
Yeah.
So we will talk about this movie, and we will of course be moving to the arbiter of all things Bond, the BonadBoard, which as you can see has been repaired after a fashion.
It's sort of a monthly job now.
Yeah, no.
It just falls to pieces.
Do we feel like we're coaxing it through? We're only prolonging the inevitable.
Yeah.
Anyway, so we will go to the BonadBoard for some scoring. But first, Moonraker is the 11th movie in the Bond canon and Roger Moore's 4th appearance as Bond. Shot in 1978, released in 1979, which means it's a happy hunting ground.
Smorgasbord.
A smorgasbord, that's the word I'm looking for.
Yeah.
It is fertile hunting ground for...
Let's do it.
Wardrobe Watch! Threads Watch. Why have I written Wardrobes Watch down here? Was I drunk when I did these? Anyway, Threads Watch, not Wardrobes Watch. So, I would like to point out some of the excellent threads that Rog wears in this movie. So, first of all, we've got the flares on the gun barrel, which are magnificent, frankly.
Not bad.
An achievement, about the size of this table. They're an achievement. Then we've also got some massive beige flares that he's wearing with a sort of
Which one's
blue jacket.
With the blue jacket, with the white polo neck.
Yes,
Lovely.
and the beige flares as such. You can't actually see his feet.
Yeah.
He may have been wearing the brown slip-ons. He may not have done. We don't know. The flares were so big, we can't see his feet. He could have been wearing a pair of diving boots. He could have been wearing nothing.
Yeah.
You know, who knows? Could have been a pair of Jesus sandals. Just magnificent flares. We've also got a lovely suit fairly early on, which has one of those massive 70s collars on. He looks like Harry Hill. He's got one of those huge... It looks like a neck brace. He's sort of...
There were a few, the collars were pretty big.
They were
There were a few different ones throughout, and then, the one with the black jacket and the white
a beauty
suit.
A beauty. It must be uncomfortable wearing a collar that big. It must be like you've had spinal surgery or something. It must just be awful. But we've got it's not just that. There are more. I've got black on black with a high waistband when he's creeping around Drax's castle at night, which is like a Simon Cowell style. On about the third rib, the just below the nipples is where the belt line starts. Superb. In Rio, we've got a white suit with a brown shirt and a little brown pocket square.
That was very nice.
Beautiful. I mean, I would genuinely love to wear that.
Yeah.
It's just so nice. And you'll be delighted to know the return of the camo jacket.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, the safari suit.
As our correspondent said earlier on, the safari suit.
Yeah.
This time with the sleeves rolled up.
Yeah, this one was
For
a
a
bit
sort
more
of
casual,
slightly casual, I'm in the jungle kind
Very
of look.
nice.
Yeah, beautiful. Have you got any
I've
more?
got my favourite, I think. Yeah, well, there's a poncho that was quite. But that's just
nice
getting in with the
vibe,
the local vibe.
Exactly.
Yeah. We had a lot of big collars, but then Gogol's got. Gogol. Yeah, he's got the red pyjamas with the matching telephone.
Yeah.
But Bond's like, well, I'll see your red pyjamas with matching telephone. And he's got that brown suit with the one with the patches on the elbow
yes, I forgot about that one.
At the hunting scene.
Very nice.
And it's got a bloody matching car.
I know.
So, that's bloody amazing.
Could you get me a car to match this tweed jacket?
Yeah.
And the
so
elbow
that
patches,
wins.
Although you're right about Gogol's, because normally I focus on Rog, I forget everybody else. But Gogol's pajamas, they are a bit Del Boy, aren't they? They just need a sort of monogrammed initials, don't they? GG maybe for General Gogol. Anyway, look, it's 1979. Fantastic stuff when it comes to the wardrobe. So that was not Wardrobe Watch, but it was Threads Watch. Threads Watch. Excellent. Right, information about the movie. So as well as Roger Moore, we have Lois Charles as Dr. Holly Goodhead. What an awful name. But anyway, there we go.
A woman.
A woman. Dr. Holly Goodhead. Sorry for anyone, that's not a great name. Lois Charles's middle name is Cleveland. So maybe she felt Holly Goodhead actually wasn't such a bad name after all. She was previously in The Great Gatsby with Robert Redford. And originally cast for this role was Jacqueline Smith from Charlie's Angels. But she had to refuse because she was filming a series of Charlie's Angels and it clashed. So then they turned to Lois Charles. The original part for Drax was originally going to be James Mason. Which would have been, God, that would have been something. Who's in my favourite movie ever, by the way, North by Northwest. But in the end, it went to Michael Lonsdale, who was a bilingual French actor. The reason being that Moonraker was actually a French production. It wasn't a British production. It was officially an Anglo-French production. And so that was because of budget and tax issues. Because the budget was so big for this that they were going to get taxed very heavily if they filmed it in Britain. So they filmed it as a French production and did a lot of it in France. But part of the deal was there had to be some French stars. So that's why we have Michael Lonsdale. We also have Corinne Cleary, who was a French actress, as Corinne Dufour. We also have the return of Richard Kiel as Jaws. Very nice to see Jaws again. As you say, a bit more of a comic role this time. We'll talk about that later on when we get to the henchmen. Bernard Lee's final appearance as M. Unfortunately, he died a few months after Moonraker was finished. He died in early 1980. But he has a nice final appearance, I think, as M. He does some good stuff in this movie. Lois Maxwell, once again, as Moneypenny. This time she gets to go to Brazil and sit at a desk. And we have Desmond Llewellyn returning as Q, who also gets to go to Brazil and show off a whole variety of different gadgets this time.
There.
So nice. The director was Lewis Gilbert. This is the third and final Bond he directed. He had also directed The Spy Who Loved Me a couple of years before, so they retained him for this movie. This is also the final contribution to the Bond franchise for Christopher Wood, who wrote the script. So we've seen him appear on several scripts. And he wrote the novelisation, as our correspondent mentioned earlier on. And the final Bond movie for Ken Adam. And you can tell that he's back on the sets.
Yeah.
All of a sudden, it's just big and expensive and huge.
I mean, I've said before, so, how much admiration I have for his work. So, I'm finding this stuff out for this, I genuinely am finding this out.
Yeah.
Oh, no more Ken Adams stuff.
Ken Adams sets,
This is where we're creeping. Well, we're not quite in CGI time, are we?
No, we're not. But there was, you'll see in the next movie, there was a slightly different angle to what they were trying to do. And, I suppose the huge sets. And also, of course, they cost so much. This budget for this was huge, which we'll talk about. This movie was produced by Cubby Broccoli alone. We mentioned Harry Saltzman had sold his stake in Eon by this point. And his stepson, Michael G. Wilson, came in as executive producer. He's obviously had roles in every Bond film ever since as either executive producer or writer or producer or something.
Answer the phone, Michael.
Yeah, no, he's here. He is available for Dolly for the reboot.
Why don't you answer your phone?
Yeah. The historical context of this movie. It's 1979. Star Wars had been released 2 years earlier and been this enormous, massive success.
Yes.
So the producers changed their mind and decided to film Moonraker. You may have noticed. Go on. I know what you're going to say.
My mate John pointed out. All right, John. So the end of
The Spy Who Loved Me.
Yeah, it says that it's going to be For Your Eyes Only next.
Yeah, it did. And they changed their mind because Star Wars had been such a hit. They decided to do Moonraker and send Bond into space.
People like them. Let's make some more of them.
That's right, Mr. Partridge. So this was based on the source novel for Moonraker, which was the third novel in Ian Fleming's literary canon. This is considered, I think, generally considered one of the better novels. So if you get a chance to read it, do. It's a terrific novel. Rather more huge and space age and fantastic, I suppose, than the previous novels and some of the following novels. But a really, really good novel, this one, in which Bond has to stop a missile called the Moonraker, hence the name. One of the earliest adaptations of any Bond novel was, you're going to love this, was Moonraker, which was made for a South African radio station in 1956. Right, the novel of Moonraker, this was it. And do you want to know, and I promise this is true, do you want to know who played Bond on that?
Yes, please.
1956, South African radio production of Moonraker, the novel. Bond was played by Blockbusters presenter Bob Holness. Isn't that brilliant? I love that. I love things like that. As with The Spy Who Loved Me, almost nothing survives from the novel. The character names have been kept, although they look completely different. The description of Drax in the novel is completely different. The only thing that's kept is there's a reference to Frederick Gray saying, "I've played bridge with this fellow Drax." And that comes from the novel. There's a long scene where they play bridge in the novel. There are also some small plot points that are used later in Die Another Day, all the way in 2002. Right, let's get to your favourite bit. Problems in production. Would it surprise you to learn, to use my catchphrase, that there were a few little problems in production?
No.
So as we said, this was not primarily filmed in Britain.
This is episode 11.
No, here we go. Was filmed in France due to tax issues, as I mentioned. So it meant there was a lot more location filming. So they did a lot of location filming in France, in California, in Rio, in Venice, and so on. Roger Moore was late arriving to Rio because he had a recurrence of the kidney stone problem that he had during Live and Let Die. So they had to sort of stop filming while they were waiting for him, or try and film some background shots and things like that while they were waiting for him. When the Concorde lands in Rio in the movie, that was genuinely his flight arriving with him on it. Yeah, honestly. They've literally filmed him arriving. The cable car sequence, which we will talk about in depth in the stunt section in very shortly. Would it surprise you to learn one of the stuntmen actually went over the edge without being tied onto anything or harnessed onto anything? So when you see the long shot of the guy doubling as Bond, holding onto the edge, that is literally what Richard Graydon was doing. Okay? We will talk about that stunt a little bit later on. But just to give you the headlines, that cable car was 1,300 feet up in the air. And Dickie Graydon was holding on by his hands. Unbelievable.
Crazy bastards. We love you.
Iguazu Falls, I believe I've pronounced that correctly, the big waterfalls in Brazil, was used for the boat going over the edge. The boat got stuck in the rocks. They were going to genuinely push a boat over the edge and film that, right?
Right.
It got stuck in the rocks and couldn't be moved. They got a helicopter to hover. Yeah. This sounds like a great plan, doesn't it? They got a helicopter to hover close and someone to lean out and try and move the boat to get it so they could get the shot of it going over the edge. He heard a ripping noise. It turned out that the only thing holding him in was the threads on his harness because the harness had broken. So he was like, do you think we might be able to perhaps move me back into the helicopter if that would be okay? I don't really want to go over the waterfall. So yeah, that was a little bit hairy to put it mildly. In the end, they just decided to abandon it and just use models. When you see Jaws going over the edge, that's a model that Derek Meddings made. So few little problems, as there normally are. Right, controversies. Obviously, these films are decades old, so there are some things in there that wouldn't be included now. All I've put for this is Bond being a douche to women again.
Yeah.
I mean, you've mentioned a woman.
A woman?
When he meets Dr. Goodman, which isn't great, is it?
Yeah, even with her kind of saying, powers of observation are astounding or whatever. It's still hilarious when he says it.
A woman?
He doesn't hit anyone anymore, but... Oh, God.
Let's just carry on.
Yeah. He doesn't hit anyone, but I'd say to you lads, if your girlfriend or a lady you're out with has nearly been murdered by a giant man, don't be all smug about it. I did tell you to keep away from strange men.
That's just what she wants to hear.
Show a bit of compassion, lads. Exactly. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah. No, there is an element to this that's not brilliant. Right, reception for this movie. 60% on Rotten Tomatoes. So, okay, not as high as The Spy Who Loved Me.
Yeah, have I got to see like poker faced?
Yeah, well, we will get to our scores very shortly. However, there was an Oscar nomination for Derek Meddings for Best Visual Effects for this movie, and it was wildly successful at the box office. We've talked about how much they did on such little budgets comparatively in previous movies. The budget for this movie was actually $34 million, so way more than we've seen any other previous budgets. Do you want to know what the box office was? $210 million. So by far the biggest we've seen so far in the series. Huge. Which, okay, the budget was more, but if you're taking that much more, you know, you're going to spend that kind of money. Even The Spy Who Loved Me only did 185 million. So yeah, this was just wildly successful. Although it has been critically reappraised, shall we say, in recent years, which we will discuss in just a moment, because we will be moving to the ultimate judge, what's left of it, of all things Bond, the BonadBoard, when we return in just a moment. I've always wanted to do that.
It's my go.
Sorry, you're going.
No time. There's no time. Well, we're back.
Tom, will you please activate the BonadBoard?
Spellcasting. BOND A. No.
B
O A D R D.
Yes.
Activate! Woo! Oh, actually, I was messing around with that earlier. Is that?
Have you added some power to that?
I don't. There's different settings as well. I don't tell you about it because
it's not doing the voice activator thing anymore.
Yeah, it is.
Oh yes, it is brilliant.
But in a different way.
Nice.
Yeah, it's a bit. Yeah,
No, I like
that'll
that.
do.
Yeah, no, it's definitely.
We could
improved
mess around. We should do it
BonadBoard,
off camera. I should show you.
Space age BonadBoard,
It is-
appropriate for Moonraker.
It-
Very, very nice.
Oh,
See what I
we
can
will.
see. I can see what you've done there. Just go with it.
Yeah.
Right. We have 12 categories on the Bond board, which we believe are the ideal elements for a perfect Bond movie. We score each of these elements out of 10, each of us, and then at the end we combine our scores. Me as someone who's seen it a zillion times before, and Tom as someone watching it for the very first time. So we compare our scores. We're not going to go through all of the previous 10 movies, but we will just say that in number 1 right now, it's...
The Spy Who Loved Me.
with a
Is that
score of...
198.
Excellent. So that is the target. Right, Moonraker, here we go. Here are the 12 categories, the first of which is the opening sequence, the pre-title sequence.
Yeah.
What have you got, Pop-tastic mate?
Well, there's a space shuttle theft.
There is. Because they don't happen very often, do they? It's not exactly an everyday occurrence, is it, that?
Nah, it's good though.
Yeah.
And
Oh, by the way, you know the guy flying the plane for the Royal Air Force? The Royal Air Force always gets you there, Commander, whatever it was. He was the guy in The Spy Who Loved Me who said, leave it with me, sir, and ran upstairs and got shot.
oh,
Yeah, that was it. Just saying. Same actor.
dies a bloody horrible death in this one as well.
He does, to be fair. Where's that guy who gets killed in every episode? Let's
yeah.
get him in again.
Yeah. Just massive explosion with the plane.
Yeah.
And then we've got the skydiving sequence, which it's a bit of a mixed bag, I'd say.
Yeah.
There's stuff that's really impressive, like them doing all that stuff.
Yeah.
And then
One or two bits where you go,
maybe not have to get quite so close in the face of the stuntman.
yes. So it's not quite so
Well,
obvious.
it's meant to be Jaws.
It's a stuntman with a thing in his mouth. Yeah. I mean, I like. There's another Where's Bond pun like they did in The Spy Who Loved Me.
Yeah.
Which I think I quite.
Was it on
I
his
think it
last
was
leg?
on his last
Oh,
leg.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
I think it's supposed to be it was going to be a regular thing, but of course Bernard Lee passed away, so it stopped after that. But I quite like that. I do think most of the parachute stuff is terrific. And and we'll talk about this in stunts, but the practicalities of filming that must have been just impossible. So I've scored the opening sequence 8.
Yeah, I went 7.
Okay.
Yeah. You are red.
I am red, Tom is blue, not that you can see from all the way back there.
Well, we might be able to...
You've written 9, let me help you out there. I said 8.
What did you say? 8?
I said 8, yeah. You said 7.
I didn't think I was that drunk.
No,
Maybe
well,
I've had a bit
obviously
more
we're
than I...
Not drunk enough. Theme song is the next category. Theme song for this time was Shirley Bassey for her third appearance on a Bond theme song. There are actually 2 versions of this theme song. There's the opening credits, which is the sort of traditional Bond style, melodic, quite
Romantic
chilled out, romantic.
strings.
Thank you. That's what I'm looking for. And then, of course, this being the late 70s, there must be the disco version.
Yeah.
So there's a disco version over the end credits. Which did you prefer?
Well, I think I was more surprised by the disco version because I got the
Oh. Cool. They don't write tunes like that anymore, do they?
Because I got the record and I've been listening to it quite a bit, and that's just got the opener on there.
Right. And
And
suddenly
I
you
didn't
get
realise there was a disco one, so I was like, "Oh!" But
disco
I'm more,
version.
I'm more used to the normal one.
I'm not a big fan of this theme tune.
No?
So I think actually the disco version kind of helps. I think it jazzes it up a bit.
Yeah.
Not that I'm a big disco fan, but
Yeah.
to do something different with it, I think is probably a good idea.
Yes, it's kind of... We've normally got a bit of mix of the romantic strings with an action sort of theme built in. They do a combo somehow.
In the middle section,
bit of John
there might be a
Barry.
bit more of a
John
lift
Barry
or a-
can be the big...
Yeah.
From Russia with love kind of stuff.
Yeah.
But
I'm sure he'd love his music to be represented in that way. I've gone 6 for the theme song. It's not one of the better ones. I don't think you'll find it in many people's top 10 or even,
Yeah, I've gone a bit higher. I've gone 7.
7.
You've done 6.
6 and 7.
Yeah.
Okay, fine. Shall we move on? So the next category is the score. So what did you make of this score?
The under bit is just 2 notes.
Is it? I hadn't spotted that.
And then it goes. Spacey, innit? Space brass.
Spacey, space brass.
I liked it.
I think this is definitely one of John Barry's better scores. A final appearance, by the way, for the 007 theme.
Oh, yeah.
Which is the final chance for me to go da 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 da. Really nice to hear that again. That was during this speedboat chase in Brazil. Brilliant.
Yeah.
Loved hearing that again. There are a couple of pieces of music here. Flight into Space, beautiful. Really, really beautiful piece of music. And also, there's a piece called Bond Lured to Pyramid. What do you think happens then?
Don't know, is that one of the bits in space?
Bond gets sort of lured to the pyramid.
Sorry.
Yeah, that's what happens there. But they're beautiful pieces of music. Really lush, orchestral, you know, very John Barry-ish. Really, 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 really like them at all. You're the musician. You're always pointing out to me that he makes a lot from just a couple of notes and that sort of thing. This felt more complicated. Would that be right? More complex in terms of its structure?
In terms of, have you noticed how little of the music I've learned this time?
Yes, I have. Yes.
So there's your answer.
Okay,
Yes,
fine.
you're
So
absolutely
yes.
bloody right.
So yes, it's more complicated. Okay, fine.
Big, full stuff. I mean, there's a lot of that in most of the movies, but...
Yeah. How many people are in this orchestra? I want 20 more.
Yeah.
You know, it's a big... Yeah, I think it's a really, really beautiful soundtrack, this one. A couple of little in-jokes here in the score as well.
Yeah.
So when they're going into the laboratory in Venice, and there's the musical keypad, as you would have guessed. It's the Close Encounters of the Kind tune. Very nice. On the hunting scene, when Drax is hunting the pheasants, the 2001 theme is played on the hunting horn just as Bond pulls up. And of course we have the Western theme, the Magnificent Seven theme, when Bond is horse riding. So a few little in-jokes there as well. Yeah. Anything else to say on the score?
No,
I think it's a great score.
I think that's summed it up nicely.
One of Barry's best, in my view. I've gone for 9 out of 10.
Whoa.
High score.
Good stuff. I've gone 8.
Excellent.
Yeah.
So we're scoring pretty highly
for that one.
so far. Yeah, not bad. Next
is stunts.
Stunts. Excellent. Right. We've talked about the pre-title sequence and in particular the parachute stunt. This was filmed over a 5-week period in the skies above California. Have a guess how many parachute jumps they had to do to get enough footage.
About 50 or something.
92.
Bloody hell.
92 parachute jumps.
Yeah.
The reason being, by the time they jumped out, steadied the camera and sort of got themselves into position, they only could get literally 3 or 4 seconds of usable footage. But it was then time to pull the cord and sail down. So, they made 92 jumps. All of this was directed by John Glenn, who is a Bond legend. He was involved in the movies as far back as 10 years previously. It's cool. Sorry, I'm not going to take it. On Her Majesty's Secret Service. He directed the ski chase in On Her Majesty's Secret Service.
He's good.
He also goes on to direct, the main director for every Bond film of the 1980s. He becomes the main. So he's a genuine Bond legend, John Glenn. There was one little thing at the end of that stunt that was filmed but ultimately cut. You know when Jaws is falling? I like the way he starts trying to fly as well, by the way. So he starts falling. Could work, you never know. He's a big guy. He starts falling, right? Yeah. And he lands on the big top.
Yeah.
And then it cuts to the credits. They originally filmed a scene where he goes through the big top and ends up in a trapeze act. And he actually starts, he's sort of like this on the trapeze. But I think they felt that was a step too far, really. So that was cut in the end. Although that would have been quite fun, you know? I mean, it's such a mad movie anyway. Like, why not? Do you know what I mean? Anyway, that's the parachute stunting film. Oh, I know I was going to ask about the parachute stunt at the start.
Yeah.
We see, you know, the woman, the stewardess who pulls the gun on Bond.
Yeah.
And then we see her put the parachute on.
We
don't see her after that. So does she like parachute out and land somewhere different? Does she sort of quietly, it looks like it might all be going a bit wrong. I think I'll just land over here somewhere.
Yeah.
Quietly take myself away.
It is a bit.
Yeah, like...
They won't remember.
Yeah, exactly, yeah. Did she not count? I don't know. Anyway, there we are. So, another good stunt here is the Glass Museum fight in Venice, which, again, quite difficult to choreograph and do all that kind of stuff. I love the fact that in the script... I know we'll talk about the script later.
Ninja!
Yeah. Ninja! I love this fact that in the script they've shoehorned in this reason for Bond to visit this room, which is full of priceless glass, and told you how much all these glass objects cost. So you know, you're watching it for the first time, you think, that room is going to get completely destroyed later on. You just know that something's going to happen to destroy all the glass in that room. And sure enough, it does. So that's quite nice. And we also have to, of course, talk about the cable car stunt.
Yeah.
Which is extraordinary. So, Richard Grayson, Dickie Grayson, sadly no longer with us. If you get the chance to read or watch any of the interviews with him, he was the most frightfully well-spoken man. Awfully well-spoken.
And we both had to jump together. And as he went first, I had to wait for him until he jumped.
And he talked about hanging over the edge on this scene. He said it was the most terrifying stunt I've ever did in my entire career.
Oh, damn.
And he was genuinely actually looked a little bit... These are incredibly brave people.
Yeah.
And he genuinely did look a little bit unnerved all these years later that he had to hang over the edge without a harness. Neither he nor Martin Grace, who is another stuntman we will talk about a lot in future Bond films because he does all kinds of things, doubling for Roger Moore. Neither of them could actually wear harnesses. The reason being, obviously, Bond and Jules are fighting on top of the cable car. So to be strapped on, harnessed on to the top of the cable car wasn't really an option. They had to kind of move around the cable car. Now, I know it's a big cable car gondola, but when you're stood on the roof of the bloody thing, more than 1,000 feet in the air, that's going to feel like standing on this table. That's going to feel tiny when you're that high up. A couple of other things on that scene. When Jaws bites through the rope, licorice. They had him bite through a big licorice rope. Quite a nice idea. Very simple, very good. Also, there is a bit where the cable car stops. Bear in mind they're still right near the top. They're 1,000 or more feet above Rio. And they're both stood there. What's happened? Why have we stopped? And then Roger says, I'm sure we're better off out than in.
Yeah.
No. I'd say you're definitely better off in.
Yeah.
Why would you be better off on the roof 1,000 feet above Rio?
Yeah.
Is there any major stunts I've missed?
Those are the massive ones.
Yeah.
There's only a few. There's like the fight in the ambulance, which ends up with the stretcher bolting out of the ambulance and bashing into
Rolling
the
down the
billboard.
road.
And that was pretty cool. The speedboat sequence, there was lots of dummies getting blown about. And I suppose there's the end. There's a few people flying about the place, but the laser gun battle kind of big set piece fight. Not really much stunt work going on apart from having the odd. Yeah,
but the trouble is because they're all on harnesses. According to The Bible of Bond, Some Kind of Hero by Matthew Field and R.J. Chowdhury, which I would recommend everybody reads. According to that, because the stuntmen were all attached to wires and they were sort of
Yeah.
running around having to fly around to try and make it look weightless and everything else. Apparently, some of the stuntmen were actually passing out because the wires are cutting into your circulation down here, cutting off the supply to your brain. So yeah, it was pretty hairy, I think.
Yeah.
I
It looks a bit daft.
well, in comparison to Star Wars a couple of years
Yeah.
earlier, I don't think
Yeah.
the special effects are as good.
Well, no, they're fine. I think maybe it was trying to differentiate it.
Yes, I think so.
They had, well, let's have, people flying around in jetpacks, but it's
Yeah.
like, it turns out none of them can move.
Yeah, exactly. And also,
So-
like you say, they have to be careful not to be too close to Star Wars. They
Yeah.
can't have C-3PO running around.
Yeah,
can they?
and
The
spaceship.
sound effects have to be
battles,
different.
you know.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Okay, what are we saying for stunts?
I'm going 8 out of 10.
I have also gone 8 out of 10 for stunts. So there we are. Despite watching it for the first time, you and I have scored it exactly the same. Next we have
Vehicles.
vehicles.
Yeah.
What are you saying for vehicles?
We've got, the turbo gondola,
Yes,
which turns into, is that hovercraft?
a hovercraft gondola on land.
That catches everyone's attention, including the pigeon.
Yes. I have questions.
He's undercover, right? He's
Yeah.
being a spy.
Yeah. So he's a man in a suit is driving a hovercraft gondola at great speed through the middle of St. Mark's
Catching
in Venice
everyone's
during
attention.
the tourist season.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
It's a bit. Also, here's my main question with that. Where does he go?
Yeah.
Like, because he gets out of the water and he drives through St. Mark's Square, and you see him drive off.
Yeah.
Where does he then go? Where does he park it? Where
Yeah.
does he? Where? How's he going to get anywhere? Venice is really narrow. You can't turn it.
Yeah.
Where's he going? I just think it's all a bit mad. The gondola thing was actually really controversial when it came out. A lot of the critics were like, "This is where we draw the line.
Yeah.
This is too much now. This is too silly." The other thing was filming this was very difficult because they wanted to get a shot where it was Roger Moore sat in the gondola, pressing the button to turn it into a hovercraft, and then lifting up and driving up onto the land. You'll notice as he sat in the gondola, and the what do you call it? The cushion thing comes up to make it the skirts. Thank you. Such an educated man. The skirts comes up to create the hovercraft. He suddenly sort of goes over and almost falls in. That was because they had done it several times previously, and he had gone in every single time. There are tourists watching, the press are there, whatever else, and he was literally down to his last suit.
There.
Before they said, look, if we can't do it this time, we've got to abandon the whole thing. So he got it done this time. So it very nearly didn't make it into the movie. So that's one vehicle. There's no great Bond car in this. There's no Lotus or Aston or anything of that sort of nature, which I think it misses.
Boats and stuff, isn't there?
Yeah, a lot of boats.
Speedboat with fold-out hang glider.
Yes. Yeah. Which 007 is told to take great care of and doesn't.
Yeah.
Throws it over a waterfall. Why not?
Yeah.
I think in vehicles we should probably include the G-force simulator round and round thing.
Yeah.
Right,
It's
question.
a centrifuge, I think.
Centrifuge is the word. That's such an educated man. Question. If Dr. Goodhead tells him that most people pass out at 7 Gs
Yeah.
and that it's fatal at 12, I think she says.
Yeah. Why is there?
Why does it go up to 20? Who's going in there?
It's like the stretching machine on.
On Thunderball.
It says danger next to it.
Danger. Then there's a setting beyond that. Certain death. Why does it go up to 20? What point does that serve? Anyway, so he just sort of goes around and around that. But you'll notice he doesn't pass out at 7 like a normal human being. He stays all the way to 13.
Yeah.
Because, he's James Bond. Derek Meddings and his team building the spaceships had only seen drawings of what NASA were planning for the space shuttle. It was 1978, the space shuttle hadn't been built at this point. So they did manage to get it pretty accurate in terms of what they did from the drawings and everything else. Couple of little minor points I would just point out, and it's not Derek Meddings or the team's fault, but just maybe in the script. They jump in the Moonraker press start,
Yeah.
and it takes off.
Yeah.
Now, in the space shuttle, they used to strap those guys in like 2 hours before to run all the checks and get them ready for takeoff and all that. In this, you can jump in it and start it like it's a Ford Mondeo and just sort of drive away in it, which is a bit odd.
It's
Also,
right, at the time, they're like, people are never going to learn anything
I know,
about space. So
it's never going to happen, so it doesn't matter. Also, it seems that you can be quite close to one as it's taking off and emerge completely unscathed.
Yeah.
Because Roger and Holly are about 50 feet away when it takes off. You know, when you see one actually take off, there's no one within like 5 miles of it, is there? You know,
Like
so
that bit in Terminator 2 where she sees Judgment Day happening.
yeah.
Yeah.
So, but look, I'm nitpicking.
Yeah.
I mean, it must have been pretty cool to see the space shuttle for the first time on the big screen. Any other vehicles I have missed apart from the speedboat, which we
I
talked
think
about?
that's all I got as well.
Okay, what are you saying for vehicles?
6.
Only 6?
Yeah.
Really? Is that you're not a fan of the gondola hovercraft?
No.
Did you look at that and you were like,
I laughed, but if you're saying critics are saying this is a step too far,
Yes.
you'd be difficult to argue.
I agree.
You know,
Sean Connery
otherwise.
also felt the same way, by the way.
Yeah.
He went to watch Moonraker with Roger Moore
Punched him.
because they were good friends. But he
ruined
said,
it, Rog.
"Now this is a bit silly. Now, come on, Rog. This is a step beyond."
It's daft. It's the daftest thing so far, and just the pigeon doing the double take.
The double taking pigeon, yeah.
Yeah, double
We'll talk
take.
about that when we come to the story.
Piss
but it's-
take, more
yeah,
like.
Well, yes, quite.
Yeah.
I have gone, anyway, strictly for vehicles, I've gone 7. I quite like the centrifuge, as you correctly call it. So I think that bit works quite well.
Yeah.
But not the greatest for vehicles, I would say. Villain is next. Our main villain, of course, is Drax, played by Michael Lonsdale, brilliant French actor. He has some fabulous lines in this. Some really, really brilliant.
So I couldn't press you for a cucumber sandwich. It's like,
The other
why
thing-
not give me some? You're giving your dogs all that bloody steak. Let's fry a couple of them up.
Can I have
for
someone
crying
else?
out loud.
Yeah.
Cucumber sandwich.
I love the line, even in death, my munificence is boundless. I'm going to say that in my next annual appraisal.
Yeah.
James, you haven't hit your target for this year. My munificence is boundless. I want that noted.
Everyone should say that.
Yeah, brilliant. I also
In their
like
appraisal.
place him somewhere he can be assured of warmth.
Yeah.
I do like that. You sort of, this isn't going to be good. I do think he has a slightly poor death scene, Drax.
Yeah.
I think it's slightly convoluted. He sort of gets shot, stands there for about a fortnight, and then gets thrown out of the airlock.
Yeah. And
That
Bond
is slightly convoluted.
Bond gets to just keep going with the gags at that point as well.
Gag
but-
1, gag 2, gag 3,
yeah.
gag 4. But on the whole, I do like Michael Lonsdale. I think he does carry the part very well.
I did Google if he was related to Peter Dinklage because I thought facially they look, from Tyrion Lannister.
From Game of Thrones,
Yeah,
yes.
but they're not. Well, I couldn't see any evidence to back that up. But
Something interesting about Michael
Facially quite
Lonsdale,
similar, yeah.
he worked with Roger Moore, obviously, on Moonraker,
Yeah.
but he also worked with both Sean Connery and Daniel Craig. So he brought them with 3 Bond-leading men. There we
bloody
are.
hell.
Little fact for you. And you think I don't educate you, honestly. What you saying for villain? I've gone 8. I think he's a slightly underrated villain, actually.
Okay.
I quite like him a lot.
yeah, I've gone 7, so I'm
Okay,
not far
well,
behind.
not far behind, yeah. So far, I'm enjoying this slightly more than you are.
Yeah.
Now, that may be because when I re-watched Moonraker last week in preparation for this, I was on holiday. So I may have been a bit more chilled
Better
out,
mood,
a
yeah.
bit more a better mood
Yeah.
than usual. The next category is henchmen.
Yeah.
Now, we have the return of Jaws in this movie in a slightly different role. And, of course, we need to talk about Dolly, your role model for this episode. I know you're a big Dolly fan.
Yeah.
She is a pretty divisive character, it must be
Okay.
said. Some people are kind of, it's just a bit of fun, it's fine.
Yeah.
Others are like, no, I'm not having it.
Okay.
So where do you sit? Having watched it for the first
I
time.
think it's really nice to have, as much depth as you need with a henchman. Is to just make it, more than just a kill Bond.
Yeah.
He's now got a
I tell
tiny
you
little
what,
girlfriend.
You don't need a full backstory with a henchman, do you? Why is he a killer? Why has he got metal teeth? He just has. Just enjoy it. So I take your point.
And I like that he's looking for her at the end, and they, it's because, well, as well as the fact that he would also be killed.
Yes.
He's not going to have Drax kill his girlfriend, so he has to switch over sides and
Jules gets to speak.
Does, yeah.
One line.
Well, here's to us.
But, you know, after 2 movies, why not? Which is very nice. One quick question with regard to Jules, and apologies to Mrs. Wallace. Sorry about this, Betty, but has Jules got metal testicles? Because there is a bit where
when he kicks him
in the knackers. And you hear this clang noise, and Rog kind of stops and sort of. Is
like
that the inference? Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it is like something out of Bottom. Yeah. Exactly that. Yeah. She's get a frying pan out, or the pliers in his nose and all that sort of thing. It's it's a bit weird, that, isn't it?
Yeah.
Jules, we'll talk later on about the script, but there are bits in this where Jules is. I know there was in the last movie, but more so in this movie. There are bits where he's really genuinely quite terrifying, and bits where he's kind of this big, silly clown type character. So there is a sort of tonal shift.
Yes.
With Jules and all these things. The other big henchman, of course, is Chang.
Ninja!
Is it completely normal if you're living in your French chateau in California to have a completely incongruous Chinese servant looking very sinister walking around in a kimono? Is that normal? I don't move in these kind of circles.
I think it's all right, yeah.
I mean, I suppose it's no weirder than anything else. Come and think about it. Yeah. Chang also, he does the old kendo.
Yeah.
Is he a bit shit at it? Because he does sort of hit everything except Bond.
Yeah.
He hits most of Venice, but misses Bond. He might not be very good at. Maybe try shooting him or something. What else have you got for henchmen?
That's all I got.
That's all we've got.
Yeah.
Apart from Chang going head first
into
into a piano, of course.
Yeah.
Yeah. What are you scoring for henchmen?
9.
Are you?
Because I really like Jules.
Okay.
And I liked Dolly. And that bit.
Dolly is your role model.
I like that he, he's a goodie in the end. Sorry, you haven't said yet.
7.
Okay.
I've gone a little bit lighter on henchman.
That's all right.
I think he's a little too comedic in places.
Okay.
Right, next we are going to talk about the locations. So we have California, France, Venice, Rio, and Guatemala. Yeah. I think that's a collection of the most Bond-like locations imaginable. I finished in Venice, now I'm off to Rio. I don't think you can improve on that apart from maybe adding Monte Carlo. I think this is a brilliant selection of locations, and they look amazing
down
on
the Amazon.
The pictures of Venice are just terrific.
Venice is great.
Yeah. So I love the locations in
this. I did like all the space stuff, and Ken Adams' last bloody movie, because it looks... Yeah,
it does look terrific, doesn't it?
And just
the inside of the pyramid, I think, looks terrific. But even just the pool thing where Bond fights the python, even that for a 5-minute scene is a huge, beautiful set. Yeah. And it could have been just a little pond in the jungle, and it would have been fine. Yeah. But it's always something huge and big and wonderful. Yeah. And I just think they're fantastic sets. So. For location and sets, I've gone high. I've gone big 9. I love 9. It. Yeah, I love it.
Okay, I've only gone 8, but I do like it a lot.
I like it a lot. That's an 8, not a 6. There we go. You can draw an 8, people. Right, story is next.
Well,
now we've done your brilliant plot summary. What do we think? You didn't give your opinion of the script.
No, I didn't. I wasn't dissatisfied with the madness of it, or put off by the madness of it. Yeah, if anything, it was, with Drax doing the master... We haven't done a master race one before, have we? But it's very kind of, sort of another taking over the world, but this time...
But this time it's a master race, superior beings, And surely, also, if he's sending these globes down onto the Earth to hit different parts of the Earth, surely some people would survive. There's billions of people on this Earth. I get that most people would die. But surely some people would survive.
Yeah,
so
but
what
then
do you do with them?
will you come back to Earth once you've got your master race? Wasn't that the plan? And
Yeah, but that'd be like 20 years' time.
yeah.
So they're going to fly around in space on essentially a giant sex space station and just fuck each other crazy for 20 years. This is the plan, is it? I mean,
Lynn, these are
don't
sex
get me wrong, I'm all for it.
Lynn, these are sex space people.
These
Yeah.
are sex people, Lynn.
They're sex space swappers. Yeah.
Also, did Jaws not get the memo? Like, until
I
the
know.
point. Was he like, I'm surrounded by all these beautiful people?
He doesn't really think more than one step at a time.
No,
does
he
I
doesn't
suppose?
seem to, does he?
He wouldn't be a snooker player.
Also, why are they all blonde? What if you like brunettes?
Well, obviously Drax, he's got a preference.
Oh,
hasn't he?
yeah, true. Yeah. Anyway, that's going to go wrong. Isn't it? They're all going to need to sleep with Drax at some point. Aren't
Yeah.
They? You know, that's you know how that's going to go.
Yeah.
The story for this is completely barking mad.
Yeah.
My son watched this for the first time 2 years ago on the big screen
Yeah.
when they re-showed all the Bond films for the 60th anniversary. So we did one a week, all through the year, right? And I didn't think he would like Moonraker because I thought he would have been 21 at the time. And I thought this is a step too far for him. And he came out of there and said it was completely mad, but I absolutely loved it. He really, really loved the story. And I was like, I didn't think you'd like the sort of slightly crappy space effects. I didn't think you'd like this. Yeah. And he was like, no, I know there are problems with it, but I completely loved it. But the main thing for me with this script is the tone changes of this are just crazy.
Yes.
Like, it's a horror movie and slapstick in one.
Yeah.
And sometimes really quickly. So, Corinne's death is absolutely horrific.
Yeah.
I mean, it's like something out of a Stephen King novel.
It really
it's
is
just
the most
awful. Most horrible way to die.
I'd say that one and the clown Jules bit are like straight up horror scenes.
Yeah. Well, the scene of Jaws walking down the alley in Rio, and he's walking so slowly, and you know it's him.
Yeah.
I mean, that's when I was a kid. That genuinely terrified me, and I think it's brilliant. Don't get me wrong. I think there should be a bit of fear and a bit of things that make you uncomfortable in these movies. But we have Corinne's death, which is absolutely awful. Literally 5 minutes later, Bond is driving a jet-powered gondola around St. Mark's Square in front of a double-taking pigeon.
Yeah.
Right? And you're like, wow, where did that come from? All of a sudden. I get that there's bits of... But it's so fast that the change in tone, you know, it's... there are a few little extra things I want to point out in this as well. Roger speaking Italian in Venice. He could speak Italian for real. Roger Moore, he was married to an Italian lady. He could speak a bit Italian. I do love the scene with M where he's playing the game with Bond. You know, I think I can recall you remembering it, mentioning it.
Oh, yes.
When he's sort of playing the game to say, okay, off you go to Rio, just don't screw it up.
That stuff.
I really like that stuff. I love the coughing extra in Venice when he looks down and sees the coffin and he throws the fucking into the river. I quite like that. We also see once again the wine drinking extra.
We do indeed,
which is a nice little touch.
Yeah.
One more question I have with regard to the script. Chang is killed, head first into the piano. Then we see Drax on the phone ordering a new hitman.
Yeah.
I.e. Jaws.
Yeah.
And he's going, well, if you could get him, that would be great.
Yeah.
Who is he speaking to? Is it like dialahitman.com? You know, is it like, you know, do you need a new hitman? Call the experts at Dial a Hitman today. Right? I mean, 1-800-DIAL-A-HITMAN. Who is he on the phone to?
The best company in the world.
Exactly. Yeah. Did he find them in the yellow pages? How did he know about them? Well, you know. Anyway, there we are. Anything else in the script you want to add?
No,
Your comprehensive summary earlier was superb, by the way.
But like you said, tonally a mess.
It is,
but
kind of fun.
Hell of a lot of fun.
You got to go with it, haven't you? I found this really difficult to score because in places I'm like, no, come on. And in other bits, I really love it. What have you gone for? I'd be interested.
7.
Oh, that's interesting. I went for a 7 as well at the end.
Right.
I agonised over that for a while and thought, I don't think I can go higher than a 7. It's just a mental script, isn't it? There are 3 categories left. which means it's time for
Gadgets, gags, and girls.
A woman.
Gadgets, Gags and Girls. Hey, Bayek. Gadgets is first. What have we got for gadgets? Because you seem to have a bigger list
I've got
there
quite
than
a
me.
few.
Yeah, go ahead.
Not the most impressive array, but we got the mirror telly switcher
Yes.
in M's office. Q, come on, mate. No one wants one of them. Waste of time. You could just have a mirror somewhere in a telly. I don't know. Wrist nerve impulse gun.
Wrist gun thing, which he shoots into the arse of the horse on the
Yeah.
picture. Can I just say, we do have Bond being a twat to Q again in this movie.
Yeah.
When he talks about, they must get them in the shops for Christmas.
Yeah. And
if
it's
I was
like-
Q, I'd just think, I hope you fall down the stairs and break your bloody neck.
That's
you
what's
know?
going through his head, isn't it?
Yeah,
When he's looking at it.
he's such a dickhead. Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, what else have we got?
We got SIG case safe cracker. Nice little safe cracker.
So we have the tiny little safe cracker.
Yeah.
10 years earlier, George Lazenby's had to be literally moved in with a crane. So, progress, people.
Yeah.
Technological progress.
We got a little micro camera that says 007 on it. That just
Very
looks
nice.
cool, snazzy.
Camera.
We got the coffin stroke knife storage container. Like a million knives in
Coffin
it.
man
Yeah.
thrower thing.
And then Goodhead's CIA stuff.
She's got an array
She's got
of CIA
poison
gadgets.
pen.
Yeah.
She's got a fairly deadly diary. And a flamethrower perfume.
Yes.
Yeah, so that's all good stuff. And then there's another Q brand special little. I like these bits. So there's exploding bolas. There's
Balls Q?
Is that a sleeping man? No, it's a massive machine gun. And they show the first bloke testing out a laser gun, and then it's like, ooh, a laser gun, and then you see loads more of them.
Yeah.
Bit too many of them later on.
Although it actually melts the model. Do you notice the laser gun? I didn't see anyone melting in space.
Well, no, I didn't. No. There's a flipping rock. Not like a flipping rock. A flipping
and
rock.
Drax's when he throws him in the water. I thought we were still at Q. Yeah, the flipping rock.
Oh, sorry,
Okay,
we've done that. Yeah. And he's got a watch door exploder bomb. Bang on time.
Yeah, bang on time.
Yeah, that's
Yeah,
all I
very
got.
Good. A good selection of gadgets, though, wouldn't you say?
Pretty good.
The CIA ones, he sort of crams about 3 into 20
Yeah,
seconds, doesn't he?
yeah.
So pretty good. What are we saying for gadgets?
I went 8.
Did you? I went 7 for gadgets. Gags.
God, I got loads of these.
Right, loads of one-liners
Yeah.
in this. I'll do a few.
You do 'em
You
and
pick
I'll-
up the ones I
yeah.
missed, right? Because I know you have a more comprehensive list than I do. So I've got. I think he's attempting re-entry, which is one of the all-time great one-liners.
Fantastic.
He had to fly.
Yes. He gets, well, that bit, he said he gets a few in. He goes, heartbroken, Mr. Drax. Take a giant step for mankind.
Yeah.
And then, where's Drax? He had to fly.
Yeah. I don't like that scene, I'm sorry.
No.
When he throws him through the piano,
Yeah.
play it again, Sam.
Well, I will mention, when you say play it again, Sam, I was going to say this earlier about my likeness, Dolly.
Yes.
There's this thing, people...
Your alter ego.
Yeah, with Play It Again, Sam, and Dolly, there's a connection here that I'll get into.
Okay.
People refer to this thing called the Mandela effect.
Yes.
Which is not, right, it's not a cultural phenomenon. All it is loads of people remember stuff wrong.
Yeah.
Because humans
And then tell others.
aren't very bright.
And so they think they've remembered it too.
Don't refer to it as, don't give it a name. It's just people remembering things wrong.
So
And
this is Dolly's braces, isn't it?
Yeah, Dolly's braces, because she hasn't got braces. But, it's as if people are saying that, there's this magical thing that comes in our brain that makes us all believe she had braces. You've just remembered it wrong, lad.
Some people are adamant that she had braces.
Yeah.
When I saw it in the cinema, she had braces.
She didn't.
And she didn't. Do you know where it comes from? It's a review. There was a reviewer, a contemporary reviewer at the time, who said, I don't like the scene with... Where's the effect of?
Right.
I don't like the scene with Jaws where he meets his girlfriend. She looks silly, she's tiny, she's got silly hair, and she's got braces.
Yeah.
And it set And he had just misremembered, and it set the ball rolling.
I imagine it wasn't just that though.
no,
It
probably
might
not.
have
No,
been,
probably not.
but also "Play It Again, Sam" isn't actually a quote from.
No, he
the
never
movie.
says it, does he?
So it's one of those things that people lump in, and the actual name, the Mandela Effect. That's the one I love the most because everyone apparently remembers Nelson Mandela dying in prison. No, I don't. I remember I was a kid when he's in prison.
Yeah.
I remember him being in prison.
Yeah.
I remember the special song.
Yeah.
And I
I remember watching the telly when he was released, you know. Yeah.
from getting out of prison.
Yeah, absolutely.
Shut up
So-
with your cultural phenomenon.
So anyway, we're happy that Dolly didn't have
making
braces.
grandiose names for people's stupidity.
Thank you.
I'm
Get
my
down off your
soapbox.
soapbox for us, all right? Calm down. There's
Just
another
like
one
this.
here. Just like this, yeah. You'd fit right in.
Right.
I discovered he had a crush on me
Yeah.
for the Python. A couple of other things I wanted to point out, which are not one-liners. I know there's others. I'll come to those in a second.
Yeah.
But there were a couple of other things I would say. There are a couple of bits I really love. When he gets out of the centrifugal thing and he's nearly died, and she says, "Let me help you," and he sort of goes like this and gives her a pat on the arm as if to say, "You're all right, love."
Well,
you know, it's like a real sort of. You know.
What I was hoping was that there was going to be immediate danger after he gets out that he has to run away from, and he goes like one of them blokes who's done the spinny spin your head round the pole, and just
Played that
just
game where he has
knackered it down.
Also, if Chang was determined to kill him, maybe when he's just come out of the centrifuge and he can't speak, stand, walk, or maybe that's a good time. I'm just going to throw that out there. Maybe Chang was just crap at being a hitman.
Yeah.
One other thing I love, which I think is really good in this movie, when he's hanging over the edge of the cable car in Rio, and she says, "Hang on, James," and he looks up and says, "The thought had occurred to me," which I think might be Roger's best line in his whole 7 movies, because he sort of looks at her as if to say, honestly, really, that's the best you've got right now. You know, he is 1,000 feet in the air above Venice. You know, so I like that line a great deal. I know I've missed a few. What have I
I've
missed?
only got a few more. I've got you missed Mr. Bond. Did I? I like that one. Yeah, you said about the bloke with the wine bottle again. And
That's a good scene, actually. The hunting scene. I think
we've
is
gone
a really
for
good
the
scene.
only other one. It wasn't actually a gag, but obviously made me laugh. Is when the butler, Drax's butler, around the beginning says, "Mr. Drax will see Mr. Bond in the drawing room." The what room? What, you mean we've got a room just for drawing? I don't think I've been in there.
The sketching room. What are you saying for gags?
The gags as a whole I quite enjoyed, and I've gone 8.
Okay, I've gone 7. Again, you've scored that category higher than me. Which one of us is supposed to be the fan, honestly? And finally, we have...
Girls. A woman.
A woman?
Yes. Right, let's start with Dr. Holly Goodhead. There is the potential there for a really good character, only sort of partly developed. You see her fight a bit, you see her fly the shuttle, but it doesn't feel like she's
a fully
the sort of action hero she could be.
Yeah. I put down, she's a fully trained astronaut, she's a doctor.
Yeah.
She's handy in a fight.
I don't know, I don't feel completely convinced by her. I mean, you feel like she should be the American equivalent of Triple X from The Spy Who Loved Me, really.
Yeah.
I don't know, I didn't feel completely convinced.
I quite liked her. And
Okay.
who else?
Corinne was the other one I was going to mention. Because...
Nasty death.
Yeah, and also, what's really nasty about it is Bond is completely responsible for her death.
Yeah.
And in the books, certainly in the novels, that would have played on his conscience and his guilt quite a lot. He felt the deaths of the women he got involved with very, very personally.
Yeah.
Of course, in this example, he's completely responsible for her death, but Bond doesn't know about it.
Yeah.
Which I think is the first time we've seen that.
Oh, yeah.
In the series. So
perhaps, yeah.
Yeah, so I think it's quite an interesting plot point, that, really, for quite a minor character. Have I missed anything?
No, I didn't say before, I'm pretty sure that's a big bloke who actually gets in the same shot as the dogs falling down.
I think it was one of those female stuntmen.
Oh, it was
I think it was a woman
stuntman.
stuntman.
A woman?
Yeah. But yes, I
Okay,
think
I
there
thought
may
it
have been
looked
a man doing some of the running, but the actual dogs, I think, was a woman. But yes, yeah, I mean, a really interesting. Again, we're partly developing the female parts. We're getting there, but it's not.
And Manuela is hardly in the bloody movie, is she?
Bit of a throwaway part of that. Yeah, bit of a throwaway part. So what are you saying for
I have
girls?
gone 8.
Have you?
I reckon that's too high now. I've said that.
Well, hey, don't let me put you off.
I have gone 7.
I
Changed. I think it was too high.
I have gone 6.
Okay.
So there we are.
Right.
Those are all our scores. It's time for the most fun part of the evening.
Maths.
We're going to do some maths. Welcome back. We've been busy doing maths and we have some scores. So here's the interesting thing. For the second week in a row, those glasses are brilliant. You've scored this movie slightly higher than I have. Maybe that's me being a bit jaded. I've been watching these movies so many times. Who knows?
Maybe.
What's the psychology behind it? We don't know.
Yeah.
So I have scored this movie 89 out of 120. Tom has scored the movie
90
out of 120, which means Moonraker, I've inputted your data. Oh. And Moonraker has an overall score of 179, which, interestingly, puts it level with Live and Let Die, which was 5th.
Wow.
So that means Moonraker goes equal 5th, which is really going to knacker up your graphics, you do. Sorry about that.
We'll have to work out goal difference or something.
Yeah, exactly. We need a extra time and golden goal and penalties. 179 is equal 5th of the 11 movies we've seen so far. So Moonraker is coming in very solidly mid-table. So there we are. That's quite an interesting score. I honestly thought you wouldn't like Moonraker as much as you did. I thought you'd think it was a bit too silly. But then you do like some absolute crap movies, let's be honest.
No.
You do, come on.
I like a lot of very enjoyable movies.
Right, okay. Yeah.
Now I have a very strange barometer of when I go, no, I'm out.
I'm out at that point.
It could be, I'll watch The Adventures of Buckaroo Banzai across the 14th dimension or 8th dimension.
Yeah, see, I won't.
Yeah.
But anyway, there we are. Yeah, okay.
You should.
Well, no, I really shouldn't. So, I'm good, I'll be honest. I'm all right. So, there we are. That was episode 11 of Review to a Kill. Thank you very much for watching. Quick reminder, please do subscribe to the YouTube channel. We would love to have as many subscribers as possible, please, because Tom needs to pay for all this equipment somehow.
Yeah.
And please do follow us on Twitter. It will cost you nothing, and I promise it's full of excellent behind-the-scenes action, like a drunk Tom trying on the yellow suit earlier. So that is at Review Kill Show. Please find us and follow us on Twitter. We would love to have you. And next time, of course, we'll be moving to the next movie for episode 12, which will be For Your Eyes Only. There we are. We're moving into the 80s.
Yeah.
We're getting through them now, aren't we? We're getting a bit of pace up.
Bloody hell.
Exciting. Excellent. There we are. Thank you for watching. We'll see you next time.
Cheers.
Cheers.